Okay, I've had a few requests for this one. W202 steering wheel removal. Basically the same for most Mercedes. Most older mid-90s, earlier Mercedes with an airbag. Unhook your negative battery cable so that you don't blow the airbag in your face. Leave it unhooked for about half an hour before you do this, and just to make sure that the capacitors are discharged. Not 100% sure that's going to discharge them, but we're just going to take that precaution anyway. Turn your steering wheel up and down, not straight. Even with the battery unhooked, you can still do that. Just turn your key to unhook the steering lock and then turn it up and down so that you can get to the two bolts in the back of the steering wheel. And those are T27 Torx, I think, and you're going to need a long, deep Torx bit. You can't use one on a socket. You're going to need a longer. This fits. This is like a 2.5 inch Torx driver. These are like $3 for one of these multi-bit Torx thingies. If you got a Mercedes, you're going to need one of these. You might as well get one. They're $2 or $3. Get a metric one. Don't get the Imperial one. If there is an Imperial one, I don't know if there's Imperial Torx or not. Anyway, this goes from T10 to T40, and these are good for long, deep bolts, because some of the times you're going to need to get in, as this is, in a deep hole in the back of the steering wheel. So anyway, we've got the car off, we've got the battery unhooked, and we've got the steering wheel turned straight up and down so we can get to these bolts in the back. There's two on the back here in the back cover. You'll see those. Take those two bolts out, and we'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, I was wrong on T27. Those are T30 bolts. So now that we've got the two bolts undone and straighten the steering wheel, it's not really going to matter that you straighten your steering wheel, but you are going to need it up and down in order to access those bolts in the back. And now we're going to turn the ignition off to lock the wheel. So the two bolts in the back are taken off, and then you just lift the airbag horn button away, and on the back there's an orange connector, and that just simply pulls away and unplugs. Keep this pointed out the door, away from you, just in case. You never know. Just while you're unplugging it, keep it pointed out the door. Keep the door open and keep the thing pointed out the door, just in case. Also, before you unhook your negative battery cable, make sure you got your radio code available, or else you're not going to have a radio. Okay, so we're going to unplug this. 1 second. Okay, there we go. Simply unplugs. And now you're going to see the center Allen bolt here. And you see it's got a blue line to line it back up, which is good, so we don't have to worry about having the steering wheel straight and everything. This is going to be lined up and all ready to go. So I'm going to find the proper size Allen key for this. We're going to take it out, and I will be back in 2 seconds. You can unhook these wires here. You can unhook the wires going through, but you don't really need to at the moment. You will have to unhook the two little spade connectors that go through the steering wheel for the horn. If you can see down inside this one, there's a little wow, let's see if I can get in there. Sorry, I can't focus on that properly. Anyway, there's a little tiny pin in the middle that's going to keep this held on, so you have to push in on the little pin in the middle. I don't know if you can get close enough to that. Let me see if I can. Let me throw a zoom lens thingy on here, a little macro lens, see if this helps. Okay. There's a little, I'm not even close enough for the macro lens to work. There's a little tiny pin in the middle of the spade connector, the push-on connector, that has to be pushed so that you can pull that out on both of these. This one, you just push this. See a little push pin? Push and slide. This one does not have the little push. Actually, it does have a little push thing. I didn't even see that. So push that with your thumb and slide it out. I'll show you that when we get up closer. See, there's a little tab right here on the back that releases the pin. Cool. I never noticed that before. I just pushed in. Anyway, there's a little tab. And on this one as well, there's this metal tab to push in, and it unhooks the little lock that locks in the hole on the spade connector there on the male end. Anyway, so now we're going to undo this. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, this is a 10mm Allen headed socket. I could just use my impact gun to take this off, but that's not fair because most people don't have impact sockets or impact wrenches, so I'm going to show you how to do it with a cheater bar. And one thing you don't want to do is turn against the steering lock. You could break your steering lock doing that. So I've got like a 4-inch extension on here because this is fairly deep. Okay, what I'm going to do is hold the steering wheel and put my knee on this. So I'm going to keep the steering wheel from going against the steering lock, so I'm not forcing it against that, and I'm just going to kneel on this while holding with my steering wheel. There we go. I always have to get a 1/2-inch socket wrench to take that out the rest of the way, but that's as easy as it is. So you can see by the line that lined up that it's broken free. Can you believe I'm too lazy to go to my garage 20 feet away and get a 1/2-inch wrench? So I'm just going to loosen this now. With the extent with a cheater bar. Oh, come on, don't be that lazy. I'll be back. Okay, once you've got the bolt out, I wasn't sure if this one had it marked or not, but it does. There's 2 little red marks, top and bottom, that line up with the blue line on the steering wheel. So I was going to, when I pulled the bolt off, I was going to mark the inner shaft and the outer so I could put it back in the right exact same spot. If your steering wheel's off a little bit, isn't centered, this is a good time. When you pull this off, you'll be able to turn it back through little teeth in here. You'll be able to center it. You'll be able to move it back and forth until it's centered, and put it back on straight. Anyway, this one is centered, and this is already lined up with a little red line there. And you can just pull that off, but it's never a good idea with the steering wheel. They're always a little tight. So put the bolt back in. Sorry. Put the bolt back in just a thread or two. Because when you yank on the steering wheel, you're probably going to hit yourself in the face if it comes out nice and hard. So all you're going to do is grab it top and bottom and wiggle it out. So let's do that now. Side to side or top and bottom. Oh, oh well, this one's nice and easy. I didn't even have to pull on that one. Sometimes you just have to yank them back and forth and they'll pop out. And I have hit myself in the face before, but I'm not going to do that again. Anyway, these wires, just let them feed through. You pull the steering wheel straight off, and the wires will feed through. And that's it for taking your steering wheel off. Installation is reverse. Now, here you can see those 2 little red lines, and that's going to line up, on mine anyway, it's going to line up with the blue line that's on there. If your steering wheel's been off for some reason in the past, it may not line up with that. If your alignment and everything is dead on and your steering wheel is straight and that line is lined, you just want to make sure that lines up exactly where you pulled it off. So if there are no little lines on here, before you pull the steering wheel off, mark your steering wheel along with this little shaft so you can line them back up again. And I'm just going to stick it back on. It's about 5-10 minutes to do this from beginning to end. Again, a 10mm Allen key, Allen headed socket. You are going to need a cheater bar unless you've got an impact gun, and a T30 deep Torx screwdriver. And that's all you need. And make sure to turn the car off. Make sure to have your radio codes. Well, you don't have to make sure you have your radio codes, but if you want to listen to your radio, you do. And I am not responsible if you kick your ass with an airbag. That's about it. Be very careful. It is an airbag. Treat it with extreme caution. It can kick your ass. It can kill you. So be very, very, very careful. Thanks.